All right, man. Here we go. Another episode. It's actually the first episode of 2026, hitting the road. Pretty pumped today. I've been trying to get this guy. I wanted to get this guy on for a minute now. But we've got country artist Dillon Carmichael. Dillon, what man, dude, what a pleasure to have you on, man. For those of you that maybe you're listening and don't yet know his body of work, I mean, he's got probably closing in on 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, if I had to guess. Hot Beer, Son of a, Raised Up Wrong. These are some songs that you probably know him for. I'm excited to have him on. Dillon Carmichael. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, man, doing good. I'm cooking some stuff up, man, in the writing world and in the studio. I can't wait. I loved hot beer. I loved all my previous stuff, but
Yeah,
man, this stuff right here,
let's
I
go.
just it's crazy because it's going to be a little while before it comes out, and I'm just like I want it to come out right now.
Totally, man. No, totally. And it's just like, following the process, I'm sure is can be frustrating. I don't know about you, man. I'm just not a patient person by nature.
Yeah.
And so I think, I want what I want and I want it now. And so I can only imagine, man, you're just chomping at the bit. But man, it's funny because last night I was listening to some of your stuff, some of the stuff that I wasn't familiar with. I was at the gym. I was at Planet Fitness of all places, man. Just so I'm and so typically I'm listening to like a Rocky montage or something like that. But I'm sitting there, man, and I see all the January people,
Yeah.
that are there
Oh
that have
Lord.
they've got the $10 a month membership, But and I'm sitting there, I'm listening to Dylan Carmichael, man. So I guess my question to you, man, is like, I know it's cliche, but do you have any things you'd like to accomplish, man? I mean, I hate to call them resolutions, but anything you'd like to get done?
Yeah. Sorry if my music caused you to set off the lunk alarm. um,
Yeah, totally.
No, yeah, mine is this year's to be more positive.
Oh, let's go.
It's not even that I'm a negative person or that negativity exists at times when like I think it's just kind of some of the small stuff. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes it's as simple as like, oh man, this truck's old. It's a matter of time before something goes wrong with this thing.
Yep. Yep.
Just go. I mean, literally, I learned that you can speak that shit into existence.
Yeah.
So it's just all mainly the small stuff, but also just the life stuff. It's like accomplishing goals in your personal life and your business life. Positivity is super important, I
Oh
think.
man. Yeah, it's I think that's a challenge for all of us, man, sometimes
Yeah.
just to wake up and so somebody was telling me the other day that it's where you should be worried for a man is when he puts his feet down on the ground and doesn't have anything to be joyful about.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, and I'm sure I know you're a married man,
Yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
there's a lot to be obviously thankful for.
Absolutely.
And as man, even framing that up a little bit, you mentioned just like the positive thinking. I'm guilty sometimes of that forward thinking. Like you
Yeah.
said, the truck's going to break down or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think fighting off that negativity. But as I'm kind of mapping out 2026, obviously, like I said, I was at the gym, last night, like about everybody else. But it made me wonder as I was kind of listening to some of your stuff too. I mean, man, because you've like you said before we popped on, you've been at this for more than a decade.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious, man. Like, how do you take care of yourself on the road? I know there's such an emphasis these days on musicians really just, because you're eating so much road, man. I mean, like, how are you trying to
Yeah.
take care of yourself?
Well, I try to. I unfortunately I don't really have that good of a setup to cook on the road.
Yeah.
When I was in a bus in 2021 and two, man, we cooked on the grill every
Yeah.
night, every
Hmm.
day. And so with my situation now is that it doesn't fit in the van, so I would have to put it in the trailer. And the thing about the trailer is that everything in it gets beat to death. I
Yeah.
took my grill out one time and I lost like four bolts and it couldn't even function because it had fell apart.
Yeah, you're
You know,
done.
so but no, man, it's hard, and I'll be honest, I don't know that I've taken that many measures to be
Yeah.
healthy. I eat pretty much catering. We try to. If I took a measure, it would be that I will eat catering instead of like we'll wait till get to the venue and get the grilled chicken or
Yeah.
whatever they have there.
Craft
As
services, man. Yeah.
stopping at the fast food place. I'll be honest, I'm just burnt out on fast food. I've eaten it all my life, man.
Yeah.
I've lost man, I've lost almost 70 pounds.
Let's go.
Yeah, and
Dude,
that
what are you
that's
doing? What are you doing to lose that weight, man? Do you mind if I ask?
no, I don't mind at
Congrats, by
all.
the way. Congrats.
Thank you. Cutting back on drinking, particularly beer.
Okay.
I'm a country boy. I grew up in Kentucky, man.
Yeah.
I've been drinking beer all my life. And just my hangovers kind of got worse, and that's the part that I was like, oh man, that's for the birds,
Yeah.
And I started getting more hangovers. I was like, man, I'm gonna cut back on this stuff. So I cut way back on drinking beer. No, I still do, but I'll save it. I put boundaries on it, and I save it for certain moments that calls for it instead of
Yeah.
just a random Tuesday night. So that helped a lot. And then I went. My doctor was like, "Hey, man, you need to add like vegetables and fruits back into your diet." So I kind of went like a Mediterranean
Yeah.
approach. I know that sounds crazy,
No, dude,
but
that's amazing.
yeah, I started adding like, we'll eat daggone cucumbers and tomatoes and feta cheese
Yep.
um and a lot of salads and bowls, rice,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
salmon and grilled chicken as opposed to always eating burgers and steaks and fast food and
Totally.
fried chicken all the time. So anyway, long answer to your question, but I'll tell you this just to wrap that question
Yeah,
up,
man.
or wrap this answer up. Um, when I'm touring, I mainly tour in the warm months. And so I already prepare myself for that. I take basically September, October through August, and um, I'm sorry, not August, March, April, March and April. So those kind of off months for touring, and I go full blown,
Yeah.
health nut.
Yeah.
And so when touring picks back up, I know that I'm going to live a fairly unhealthy life. I mean, I even schedule my doctor's appointments around it. I told my
Really.
doctor, I said, "You want to get me in, August when I've been touring for 2 or 3 months and my blood work's going to be all jacked up, I promise. Or do you want to get me in, March when I've had 3 or 4 months where I've been deer hunting, I've been out in the woods, I've been
Yeah.
climbing, and walking and eating better at home,
Yeah.
cooking myself." And he's like, I want the healthy blood work.
Yeah.
So come in March. So yeah, it's just 3 or 4 months of the year I go gung ho on health, and then the other I just kind of, unfortunately, I don't Tim McGraw it on the road. One day, I'd like to, because if I
Yeah.
like being healthy, you
Totally.
feel much better.
Totally. Well, man, and you know what's funny, and I'm thankful for your transparency. Didn't expect it to go. Listen, I didn't expect it to go the health direction, but I'm happy that it is for a second because, I guess my curiosity. Because, dude, listen, man, we know that I mean, being on stage, man, there's so much visibility, and not only that, I mean, even when you guys are promoting new stuff or whatever, whether it's videos or you're ever, like you said, Instagram, like
Yeah.
artists are everywhere. And man, there's so many, you mentioned Tim McGraw or whatever, like who doesn't seem like he's had a carb since the 90s. But
Yeah.
but I mean, as an artist, man, do you feel, and this is maybe a vulnerable question, but do you kind of maybe look at some other people that are your peers that are maybe, they're jacked, up on stage and you're
Yeah.
just like, man, I don't know if I can get there, but I can get better. Like
Yeah.
do
Not
you ever feel
really.
that you don't ever feel that pressure?
Nah, because man, I just know I'm just a good old homegrown country boy.
Yeah.
I'm worried about it. I ain't worried about what I'm doing.
Yeah,
That's been helpful. I
totally.
mean, those are some of my friends, and I'm glad that they're healthy and feeling
Yeah,
good. But I should be able to be myself and not be
absolutely.
judged by them either. Oh, I have people come to me, man. You need to here. Come, I'll take you. We'll go work out. Well, I'll show you how to do
Sure.
this or do that. And I'm like, you know, I feel like it's more in diet. Health is more
Yeah,
in diet. That's like 90. I don't know. I
totally.
want to say 90, maybe 80% of being healthy is what you're putting in your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I still need to figure out how to be healthier in that way, and then
Totally.
maybe later on I'll get into lifting and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
it's good for you, man. I mean,
Totally.
it's good for you.
Well, man, yeah, and we'll pivot, but it's like, because I saw, podcast you did with Tracy Lawrence about a year ago,
Yeah.
and man, it's just evident you just look like a different person, man. So congratulations,
Oh man,
dude.
thanks. Thank
Yeah,
you, buddy.
congrats on that, man. And so, you mentioned you're from Kentucky, small town Kentucky,
Hmm.
your family, obviously, has a music background. We'll get to that, here in just a second, man. But man, who's Snooky, man? Can you tell me?
Yeah, man. Snooky Dean is my grandmother. I actually have a picture of her right here.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, look at that.
Yeah, so Snooky Dean, that's a good question, man. She unfortunately passed away a couple weeks ago.
Oh, did she really? Man.
But yeah, she's kind of where it all got started. See, but my mom, her name's Becky Montgomery, and she
Yeah.
has two brothers, Eddie Montgomery of Montgomery Gentry and John Michael Montgomery.
Yeah.
Those guys are my uncles, and so their parents, my grandparents,
Mm.
started. They were in the music scene in Kentucky. They went around, played honky tonk. Snooky Dean, my grandmother,
Hmm.
played drums in the family band,
Yeah.
and my grandfather Harold was the front man. And then the kids, John, Eddie, and my mom Becky, would hop on. They'd hop on stage and do songs, and it was a music family. That's all they did. I mean, they
Yeah.
worked to feed their music habit.
Sure.
And it was such a lifestyle, and so that's how it was when I was growing up too, because my mom never stopped that lifestyle. Still to
Really.
this day, she's has bands. She'll do an '80s rock band, and then she'll go do this and do that. But and of course, Eddie and John are still out there doing. John's retired off the road now, but
Yeah.
they're getting. We're all getting a little older. Time is
Sure.
not slowing down,
Sure.
but no, it's been. Snooky Dean, it was a wonderful person. She always prioritized family first. She had the best advice for music, and I called her Nanny Carol.
Okay.
Her name was Carol, but
Okay.
her friends knew her as Snooky Dean. And man, thank you for asking about her,
Yeah.
because that was we hated to see her
Oh
pass
man.
on, but she's in a better place, man.
Sure.
Where there's music everywhere where
Yeah.
she's
No,
at.
come on. Let's go. Yeah. And man, and dude, yeah. And so again, I didn't know she passed, so my condolences, man, to your
Yeah,
family.
thank you.
I know the value, man, of having a grandparent that's in your life and that loves you like
Yeah,
that. And it's a special thing, man. So,
she could
uh,
cook, man. Good Lord.
yep.
I was like, I don't know where she hides the recipes, but somebody needs to go up in that house and make about 1,000 copies of them.
Yeah, yeah, man. Well, dude, it's so funny, man, because it's like, you talk about, you talk about like, grandmothers, man, they just have that instinct, man. I don't know where my grandmother was one of the last of like the greatest generation kind of, but
Yeah,
she like she had this box of recipes. I don't even know where it's at. I wish I did, but yeah, man, you mentioned like your uncles, which is just man, I'm gonna be honest. I am like today years old. Like when I realized that those were your uncles. If I'm being honest, man. I mean,
yeah,
to me,
yeah,
you were just as I listened, man. You were just Dillon Carmichael. So, I guess when I was thinking about this morning, I was wondering, like, being the fact that especially people that listen to country music. I mean, those guys are household names. Did
yeah.
did you did you feel like when you first came to town as a teenager and everything, man, did you feel like that was something that opened some doors for you, or do you feel like that was actually something, man, that was a hurdle you had to kind of climb over?
It kind of both, and it just really canceled itself out. I didn't, there were some people that were like, um, oh, he's got a silver spoon situation.
Sure.
He's got stuff being handed to him, and there was others that that actually would listen to what I was saying, because they're like, oh, well, his family has credibility in the music business. We should listen to what he's singing and saying and writing. And but yeah, I would say it got people, some people to listen to me, which was super
Sure.
helpful. But at the same time, it's like I I kept my last name Carmichael. I had a couple people that was like early on, they're like, "Hey man, all you got to do, you don't even have to legally change your name, but
Mm,
when you're promoting yourself, promote yourself as Dillon Montgomery."
yeah.
And I said, Well, that's my dad's Matthew Carmichael. My last
Yeah.
name's Carmichael.
Yep.
You know, I
Yep.
got a wonderful father. You know, and
Yeah.
how would that make him feel if I did that? You
Sure.
know,
Totally.
and so I kept it Carmichael. Um, and you know, it's a weird thing. It's hard to explain. I love my uncles, and they have a wonderful legacy, and I'm so proud of them. And we have similarities in our sound,
Mm.
and we grew up on the same kind of music. And you know, I do shows with my uncles. I've done shows with John Michael. I've done shows with Montgomery Gentry, even when T. Roy was still around.
Yeah. Let's go.
I'm a fan, you know. But yeah, I would say it kind of just balanced. You know, it kind of it, it. How did it hurt me? I don't. I would say that it also made people go, um, "Oh, well, you know, he'll never
Mm.
amount to that."
Sure.
You know, how could you? You know, John Michael got famous in the '90s.
Yep.
And then his brother got famous in the '90s. Well, there's no way. I mean, the universe is not going to let it happen three times.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Um,
totally.
yeah, there's, but, but like I said, I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Sure.
And those guys have really helped me and give me opportunities to do shows with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But even those guys would tell you, man, oh, Dylan, man, he had to grind.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he never got any kind of special pass or anything like
Yeah.
that. Still grinding, brother. You know,
Let's
I
go.
ain't.
Yeah.
I moved here 13 years ago, and that's a lot longer than most people. Most people are smart enough to go home by now, but I ain't
Yeah.
giving up. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't have give up in my vocabulary, man. You know.
no, you can't, man. I mean, you really have to stick with it, man. Listen, like there are a lot of people that are coming to town every day that are super talented people, and man, they sometimes tuck tail and run early because
Yeah.
they just can't stick with it, man. And
Yeah.
it takes a lot of character, I think, to stick with it, you know. And and I was going to ask you too, even beyond, like your uncles, man, like that they were in such a for me, one of my favorite eras of country music, right?
Oh yeah.
So like I was a Black Hawk guy, man. I was a Diamond
Yeah.
Rio guy. Like, for, they say that don't meet your heroes, but
Yeah.
you actually got a chance to play with like the Brooks and Dunns of the world. And, I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, you got a chance to sit down with Tracy Lawrence. You've done some stuff with him. And like did that 90s era, country man, I mean, even beyond your uncles, like who were
Yeah.
some guys that just really stood out to you, man?
Well, when I got my driver's license, I wound up with a Travis Tritt record
Let's
that I
go.
put in a CD player, you
Yeah.
know, and man, I wore that sucker out. I love Travis Tritt. Same for Tracy Lawrence, man. I loved all his stuff, and you mentioned Diamond Rio and Brooks and Dunn.
Yeah.
Man, I did. I got to tour with Brooks and Dunn. I did
Yeah.
a small leg of their tour rather, but still nothing to shake a stick at. Five shows,
Yeah.
thanks to Clarence Spalding, their manager, who is also from Kentucky. Met with me and kind of mentored me a little bit, and he's a wonderful guy. And he said, "Man, this guy." We're gonna put him on there, and it was awesome. I think I have to, give thanks to him for making that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I love TL. And he's a friend, which is crazy. I think I mentioned on that podcast sitting there, I was like, man, there's like, you know, 1 second, I'm like, I think I just met my best friend. He's like the best dude in the whole world. I love him to death. And then
Yeah.
the next minute, I'm like, wait a minute, that's one of my heroes. Like that's Tracy Lawrence. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
but
Crazy.
it's yeah, it is because he's still crushing it too. You know,
Yeah.
his music's killer. His voice still sounds killer. He's out there on the road and sounds great live, and his band and everybody's crew is everybody's so nice, and they're all so talented and great. It's just very rarely do you find, well, I don't want to say rarely. It's pretty common in country music, but I feel like sometimes you find people that are uber talented and maybe they got a little bit of an ego or something, but
Totally.
there's none of that going on there.
So, well, and it's funny, man, because when I was listening to some of that, with you and him, like I said, about a year ago or whatever, he does come across as just very, grounded, and I
Yeah.
was, there are a lot of people, man, they're in the industry, but they don't necessarily understand the industry, and he
Yeah.
understands it. Like he
Oh yeah, for
he
sure.
you can tell he's seen it all, man. And so,
Yeah.
it's cool that you get a chance to sit and meet your heroes, like we just said, and but even beyond that, man. So, like, I was going to ask you, music wise, man, raised up wrong, obviously, man, a little bit tongue in cheek, right?
Hmm.
And so I was curious too, man. You've got those roots in Kentucky, man, and it made me think, man, when I was the way that I was raised up. My grandfather, he was an Air Force guy, and he was big on respect. He was big on manners and all that kind
So
of stuff. And so it's translated with me even now, man. I still open doors for people, and
yeah,
I'm very much a yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir kind of guy. But a lot of that
yes,
was
sir.
instilled in me by him, and so I'm wondering, man, like small town Kentucky, man, like, and I know you mentioned Snooki earlier too, but like, and you
Yeah.
mentioned your dad. I mean, I don't want to say that that nowadays. I'm not saying people have to fake the country thing, but
Right.
who are the people, that really kind of just like built that foundation in you, like Snooki, like your dad,
Yeah.
like, and what are some of those things that stuck with you?
Yeah. Mom and dad both, treat people with respect, particularly ladies,
Yep.
and work hard. Man, honestly, that's a great question. When I sit in the woods deer hunting, I think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, some of my teachers, that I had when I was in school, taught me a lot of great things about, what's important and how to not focus on things that aren't helping you and like moving you along. But
Yeah.
that's not really, that's kind of a different thing. But as far as like manners and stuff go, it just kind of existed. Like my friends had good manners
Yeah.
when I was growing up. Everybody, really, I don't know. My Shayla, my wife, she says that you're the only person that loves your hometown as much as you do. I don't know how I got so lucky, but I had a great experience in my hometown. All
Yeah.
my friends I had were good friends. We were nice to each other. Our parents, my parents' friends, and my parents and everybody else's parents were all friends, and they hung out. And we all went to church together,
Yep.
and we did things in the community to help build the baseball field up and build the church up and help people that if there was somebody hurting there. We had one homeless guy in our town,
Oh man.
and his name was Harvey Hines,
Okay.
and everybody took care of him. I mean, that dude didn't have to be homeless. He just liked it. He just lived
Okay.
that lifestyle. I know it sounds weird, but
No, no.
he had places he went at night or if it got cold. But if it was summertime, he was out there just messing with people, walking around town. And, I don't know what made me think of that. I hadn't thought of that in years, but yeah, man, I might write that song, Harvey Hines.
Dude,
I'm gonna write that down real quick because
go ahead, man.
that's a whole different story right there. The one homeless guy in my town.
Yeah. No, I love that,
Um,
man. No, I love that, man. It's just like, I grew up in a pretty big, I mean, I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, so pretty big city, but for you, man, just to have that community, of people that, I can only imagine, at some point, man, they go beyond being your neighbor. A lot of them are
yeah,
probably your family at that point too, so,
for sure.
um,
Yeah,
which is just a blessing, I think. So,
yeah,
well, man, because I mentioned, the song, Raised Up Wrong. You got Chris Jansen,
yeah.
on that bad boy, man. Like, I mean, let me ask, how does that? I mean, you and Chris, do y'all was that something the label brought to you? Was it something you just known him for a while and you guys have palled around town? Like, what's that? How did that happen?
Well, I wrote the song with Josh Phillips. Is one of he's one of the writers that I had on it with me, and Josh writes a lot of songs with Chris, and so they were actually at Chris's house writing, and they I guess they had finished and they was in a studio or something and got to playing songs, just
Yeah.
songs they liked, and Josh goes, man, can I play you one I just wrote with this guy Dillon Carmichael, and he's like, well, hell yeah, man, sure. And so he played it, and Chris was like, "Damn, I love that. That's like that says all the stuff that Chris like."
Yeah, love
I
that.
guess that he's kind of like he grew up the same way, and for whatever reason he connected with is what I'm trying to say,
Sure.
and he goes, and Josh goes, "Well, dude, he's
Yeah.
hop on it with him, sing it with him if you like it."
Perfect. Perfect.
And he goes, "Well, I may do that."
Yeah.
And so next thing you know, then the labels and managers are talking. And so I think Chris is into this song, man. It's like Dylan would love to have Chris, man. So next thing you know, they're like, there's a date in the books, and then I'm getting a message. Chris is recording the vocal at his house today,
It's good.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, it's happening. Like I just
Yeah.
didn't because that's happened before, man. I've had other
Sure.
artists. I've had artists that are like, no, this is going down,
Yeah.
man. Like I'm putting my vocal on this. We're gonna put this out. We're gonna do this. And we're gonna do a social media plan. We're gonna
Yeah.
come and crickets. You know
Totally.
what I mean? Like, but I'm like, this is happening. Like Jansen's a man of his word. He went into
Yeah.
the studio. He cut the vocal. It took about 2 months, and and finally, we get it. My engineer, my producer gets it. Um, and he's mixing it, engineering it, and mixing it. And then I get a copy, and I'm like, damn, this is good.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
man.
then it's coming out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it's streaming, one of my best streaming stories I've had in a while, and then
Sure.
now here we are talking about it. So it's
Let's
crazy
go.
how that can happen, man. It's like
Yeah.
there's no doubt sometimes it just things just flow and happen, but it's crazy if you keep your word about stuff, you like Chris Jansen has such a strong understanding of who he is
Yeah.
as a person, as an artist, and he's a man of his word. He never forgot who he was,
Love that.
and so he knows when he hears something he likes and wants to be a part of. If he says yes, it's going to happen,
Mm.
and I think there needs to be more of that.
Totally. Totally. No,
Just in
agreed, man.
general, it's like we go back to that stuff we were taught when we were growing up. I mean, I'm that way too. I I battle internally with different things, like what do I want to say on this next thing, or what do I want to portray, or what messaging. Messaging. The toughest thing is when you get an audience, a platform. Before it was like stress free. It was like
Yeah.
nobody knew my name, nobody had heard my music. After hundreds of millions of people have heard your music, you have a little bit of a responsibility now, a little bit of a weight on your shoulders on what you say. You start
Mhm.
thinking about that
Sure.
because you're going, man, I can influence people here. You know,
Yeah.
do I
Yeah.
want to say something that's going to make somebody want to go run their car off a bridge, or do I want to say something that's going to give them a little hope? You
Sure.
know, um,
Totally. Totally.
and and so obviously you want to give people hope. So
Yeah.
so I think that's what happens with people after their first album. People always talk about their first album, and then something changed after that. It's like, well, yeah, if they got discovered by a lot of people, they start thinking about their messaging a little bit.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
comes from a good place, I think. But
No, totally, totally. Well, man, let me ask you a question because you talked about kind of, you mentioned, Chris, like he kind of lets his yes be yes kind of thing. And like you said, the town sometimes can be, whether it's intentional or not, it can be
yeah,
sometimes there's disappointment. So I think that, man, I'm gonna ask you to maybe answer this question specifically for the songwriting community because
yeah,
when you first came in, you came in, man, you got publishing young, all that kind of stuff,
hmm,
and I'm sure that you got calls that like, hey, so and so's going to cut this, so and so's going to cut that. I
yeah.
remember, man, one of my best friends, he's a writer in town. And he wanted me to sit and write with him. I just came up and he wanted me to write with him. And I was like, man, and he just thought I was a good storyteller. So I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And so we write and everything. And he calls me, a couple months later, says, hey, dude, Joe Nichols is cutting our song tomorrow. And I'm like, what? And so I'm
Oh
like, no,
wow.
I'm like, no way. And I'm like, no way. And then he calls me back. He's like, hey, dude, false alarm. It's not going to happen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. 6 months go by. He goes, hey, dude, that song that he goes, Scotty McCreery's cutting it, dude. And I'm like, get out. He's like, you just need to move to town. He calls me a couple days later. He's like, "Hey man, it's not happening," and I was just like, "What town is this, man?" But I guess my curiosity as a songwriter, man, did you ever have, like maybe it was a rumor or rumblings where like maybe it was somebody that you were just like, "Hey, it's kind of a name that you were just like, oh man, if this happens,
Yeah.
like I'm set," and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
If you
You
feel
know,
comfortable telling.
No, for sure, 100%. Yeah, I had holds, with different artists and things like, my song. You write with somebody that has a pub deal, or your publisher pushes it or whatever. It ends up in the hands of somebody and they put it on hold.
Yeah,
Um, and then a lot of times, I would say 99% of the time, the holds don't happen. And so
yeah,
that took me a little bit of getting used to. It quit being a problem when I started being an artist and making my own records, because then I was just writing for myself.
sure.
But when I had my first pub deal, and having a cut
It's a
could
big
have
deal. Yeah,
changed everything at that time. It was a really big deal. And yeah, man, I think that happens a lot. I don't. I'll tell you from an artist perspective, um, that sometimes it just don't fit with the rest of the songs on the
yeah,
album,
yeah,
and you really love the song and you love everything about it, but it's just not it maybe the next project kind of
yeah,
thing. Um but and then there's times where other songs beat it out.
yeah,
It doesn't make it not a great song. It just, for whatever reason, this other song spoke to that artist and that A&R team more, um, in that moment. And it
yeah,
just didn't happen.
yeah,
I've actually made the mistake of getting real excited and going in the studio and literally, like, about to record the song and already texted the songwriters. I'll
mm,
never make this mistake again.
yeah,
And luckily, they were cool. They were some writers that had a lot of success, and they were
sure,
they just wanted I wasn't going to make them any. They weren't. I wasn't going to do anything for them that was going to change their life or anything at that moment. Luckily, but I had written a song like the day before I went in the studio that was really personal to me, and it was on my heart that I wanted to record it, and it ended up bullying that song out after I'd
mm,
already messaged the writers. And
yeah,
like I said, if it, that was, I literally wait until I get a date that the album's coming out. Like, the
yep,
song is recorded, cut, the album is done, printed, artwork done,
yeah,
and it's got a date that it's coming out before I
totally.
start texting songwriters.
No, no, dude, that's such good wisdom, man. That's so
Yeah,
smart, man. And because it is such an up and down. I mean, just emotionally, I know a lot of guys, a lot of girls, in town, man. They just their feelings get hurt a lot,
yeah,
and their dreams get crushed a little bit,
yeah,
a little bit more than they'd like. But well, man, real quick, so I wanted to kind of ask you a couple things, and maybe this is a two-pronged question, but it's like I know you've had the chance, from a production standpoint, like John Party worked, on
yep,
on a portion of your record, man, and everybody knows he's a phenomenal artist, but it's
yeah.
like, I mean, how is he as a producer? And is that something, man, that is that collaboration something that you feel like really brings out the best, in your art and in your music?
Absolutely. John knows classic country. He knows
Yep.
he loves Dwight Yoakam, and he loves all that, 80s and 90s country, and Joe Diffie,
Oh yeah.
and and just to name a couple, but he's very immersed in that. But he's also very musical. He knows music. He knows the Nashville number system.
Yeah.
He knows every musician in this town and has known them for years.
Right.
And the thing people don't know about John is he is probably the most blunt individual I've ever met in my life.
Really.
If I walk in with this hat on, he goes, "What the hell's on your head? That color don't match that color.
There
The
it
hell are
is.
you thinking? Well, who the hell's your stylist? Did you ask your wife before you left the house before you put that stupid?" Not, he's not mean. He's just
Sure.
blunt. And funny. He does it lightheartedly. But man, when he's in the studio, it's business, and that bluntness comes out.
Let's
And
go.
he'll straight up be like, hit the button and talk to the musician. Go, "Hey guys, y'all are the best in the world. I love you. I respect the shit out of you. But don't give me the same guitar lick that you played for the artist yesterday. Today
Wow.
is different.
Yeah.
Today is different. You're going to do something you've never done today. You're
Wow.
going to pull out all stops and you're going to give us the best you got. And
Wow.
honestly, it hypes them up. They're like, hell yeah, man. About
Yeah.
time somebody tells me that, how they're feeling and what they want,
Yeah.
what they need. And so it just opens like a whole new, when you do that, man,
Yeah.
it opens up a whole new world. And that's kind of how I think, that's how you got a lot of those cool sounds and things on that record. And on my first record, I worked with Dave Cobb, and
Hmm.
Dave, um, he works kind of has like a very select handful of musicians he uses. I could list them, but he works with a very tight knit group of musicians, and those guys come in ready to, he does the same thing. He gets them hyped up and
Yeah.
ready to do something that is different and very unique and really good talented. I mean, here, this, I was thinking about this the other day, and I almost tweeted it, but I'm just not a big tweet or whatever you call it, X. I'm just not a
Yeah.
big tweeter. But man, I was thinking about it the other day. I've had people, I've seen people comment on people's stuff, and I've actually had people comment on my stuff and go, man, this sounds like artificial intelligence.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For
It's a
whatever reason, whatever makes somebody think that,
sure.
and I'm like, wow, like these are the greatest musicians. I say
Yeah.
all this to say it made me realize, man, these are the greatest musicians in the world in this town. It's
Totally.
insane how good these guys are. These session players, and also, you go down to Broadway and hear people ripping, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like in this town, it's insane the talent, and
It
and
is.
and I
Yeah.
there needs to be a Netflix series or something
Yeah.
about the musicians in Nashville. It's stupid how good they are.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Yeah. No, no, man, I think you're absolutely right. And they're just kind of these kind of silent, kind of heroes that you maybe see them,
Yeah,
if you're really looking these days, and I don't think people are, but if you're really looking in the liner notes or something like that, you may see them, but they really are, like you said, man, they're just doing some incredible things, man, and they really just kind of raise that level of production and beauty in it and all that kind of stuff. And so, let me ask you this. What is it, do you think, real quick, about John that commands and demands that level and that standard of expert, of just like of
yeah.
excellence?
Well, he just, I guess maybe he's a perfectionist, or he knows what he wants to hear, and
Yeah.
he's very aware of, like, self-aware of not, settling. We work good together because I'm actually not that way. I'm a different cat when it comes to that. I'm non-confrontational. I'm real laid back.
Yeah.
I'm here for a good time. I don't want nobody arguing over stuff. Sometimes I'll just back out of an argument and just kind
Sure.
of let whatever happen, just because it's like I have to go. Is this valuable enough to me to set? And so sometimes I don't get what I maybe wanted because I didn't speak up,
Okay.
because I'm a
Yeah.
little bit introverted. Um, and so, but yeah, John straight up, like, I mean, I'll have a song that I'm like on the fence about, and I'll play it for him. So I don't know. I kind of I like it. I kind of want to record it, but tomorrow I'm like, I may be like, I'm back on the maybe I don't want to record it thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, he'll be the guy that's like, dude, we're recording that song.
Yeah.
It's a hit. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Or he may go, nah.
Yeah. No, man,
It's
how
nice to have to work with somebody that balances me out that way, and like helps me, not be so on the fence about stuff sometimes. Like hot beer was a no brainer. I mean, it
yeah.
was like John already had his mind made up. When he sent it to me, he's like, yeah, obviously he was like, what do you think about this song? I mean, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I don't know why my camera's doing this weird thing where like 1 minute it's centered and then the next minute it's lopsided, but
Yeah.
whatever.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Um, and we both just immediately agreed. Holy cow, it was awesome!
Yeah.
Awesome song. It's crazy because I'll see if I can find it here real quick. But Hot Beer was like it was Hardy wrote it. I didn't write that song. I write a lot of my songs, um, but Hardy wrote that. I don't have it, but if I find it, I'll send it to you. Maybe you can play it
Yeah,
somehow
man.
on this. But it was like hip hop straight up. I mean, it had like trap
That's
beats in
crazy.
it and all this stuff. And he was kind of rapping in it. And John totally took it and just turned it into country gold.
Yeah.
And I thought
Yeah.
that's super cool.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned because I didn't know that about, that Hardy, we'd had CJ Solar, on
Yeah.
the pod a little while back, and he was talking about his relationship with Hardy a little bit, and he was like, man, his just his musical background and just the way that he can kind of mash genres up and get down to
Yeah.
like this really good outcome is second to none kind of thing, which is awesome too. But yeah, man, I'd love to hear that as well. But man, so real quick before we wrap up, I'm kind of curious because I was again I'm hoping 2026 is going to be a big year for you. You had toured in the past with Cody Johnson a little bit, right? And
Yep.
so
Oh, yeah.
I had a question about that because you mentioned I think it was actually, on the Tracy Lawrence podcast, you had mentioned that Cody runs his tour a certain way. So my question is two-pronged. Number
Okay.
one is what is the Cody Johnson way? And then number two, as a professional and just trying somebody that works that professionalism into your own tours,
Yeah.
did you take anything from Cody in that?
Yeah, man. Cody was awesome. He was really good to us. There was one time I was sick, and I honestly I didn't even want to tell anybody, but it was unmistakable. It was like I looked, sounded, everything about me was like I was sick. When
Yeah.
you travel, you're getting all the bugs and stuff, and Cody came up to me. He goes, we're all sick. He said, you don't sound good. Are you, you must have what everybody in this tour has.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, man, I'm feeling rough. I was nervous because I was like, yeah, I didn't want anybody to be like, kick me out of there,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
or
Exactly.
whatever. And he was like, nah, man, I got you. He said, 2 o'clock today, in your dressing room, there's going to be an IV waiting for you.
Huh.
He had an IV for me, and they had all the vitamins and this and that and all the stuff.
Wow.
And man, it made me feel way better. Great guy, takes
Yeah,
care of people. He had no reason to do that,
sure.
but he just went out of his way to do that. And
That's amazing.
great guy. But yeah, he's a very alive, aware, hardworking, uh, eye on the prize type of guy.
Yeah.
He's very involved, not a micromanager, but very involved, and all of his team respects him and wants to know. They come to him, and respect his opinion. And I mean, dude, it's crazy. The I mean, he's out there roping,
Yeah.
by bus,
Yeah.
working on rodeo stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're on an arena tour.
Yeah.
You're one of the biggest, hottest artists in the U.S. today. You have 60 tour buses, or however many, maybe 20 tour buses, and 150 people. And this dude he works so hard day in and day out that he is able to manage so much, and it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Sure.
And he's got a great team around him. Um, his manager's awesome. His tour managers and everybody, his road crew, the best in the
That's
business.
awesome.
So yeah, what did he teach me? He taught me, um, first off, to remember that even when you're playing an arena, that because him and I share a thing in common, we grew up playing in honky tonks, and we talked about it.
Mhm.
And he's like, man, this is just a big old honky tonk.
Yeah.
And he said, if you go out there and you treat those people like that, and you have that personal interaction with them, and if you act like and feel like you're in that small room and all these people are there with you, and you can look them in the eye, and you acknowledge that they're there,
Mhm.
it will completely change your connection with your crowd. And so that's what I did. I went out there and did it. And we had some awesome nights, man. It's it's crazy because when we did the last show with him, I was it was sad. I was like, man, I don't want it to end because you never know if I ever get an opportunity to do that again.
Yeah,
And it turned out 2 years later I hadn't done it again, and I'd love to, but
sure.
but I'm so thankful for that opportunity that Cody gave me, and I'll tell y'all, the guy that he seems is the guy he is,
Yeah, that's
100%.
Man, that's amazing, and I think it probably for a lot of musicians, just or even people in general, man. I think it, the more life we live, man, the harder it is to stay true to the values that we have. The person that we are. It's there's always that push and pull, right? To stay the
Yeah,
same, stay the same while still kind of evolving into the person that maybe God's
yeah,
got you, pointing towards. But well, man, real quick, I know we talked about it. We got some stuff coming up, or you got some stuff coming up this summer, man. I mean, so like, what like music projects are you hoping to bring out this year and
yeah.
to share with us, man?
Well, right now I'll say that I'm taking a deep dive on getting back to my roots. What what brought me to town. The traditional country music that I love. I'm kind of testing the my what I can get away with as far as like how old can I make my music
Oh,
sound and
I
still.
like that. Yeah,
It's like because I love, man. Shayla made me realize um, all I listen to is 80s and 90s country. I mean, I might go through a whole deep cut, a kind of B list or C list 90s or 80s artist and go listen to their records.
yeah,
Um, I want to be a part of the music community today. There's some great artists out there, and I love them and I listen to their stuff too. I'll name, I love Riley and
hmm,
Riley Green and
yep,
Ella and um, Cody Johnson. Um, I love some of the Texas country, some of
sure,
the, Ward Davis is a friend. Um, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I mean, should I get down on some Parker McCullum and
yeah,
um, some of the things that are going on there. We got Tyler Childers now. We
yeah,
got Zach Bryan, and there's my point is there's a lot of great modern music to listen to,
yeah,
but it still can't replace to me in my mind when I jump in my truck and I want to hear something. I want to hear something from the 80s or 90s. I just
yeah,
can't shake it. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
sure,
And so I'm experimenting with like getting to my roots of that and why I love it and why it speaks to me and figure out how I can convey that in my music to come to maybe speak with more people. And there's a world where that can happen. So yeah, just to answer your question, I'm experimenting with that. I'm in my studio right now, and man, I don't sleep. I mean, I don't. I lay in bed and think about songs. I mean,
yeah,
I'm in that place right now. I mean, I've got thousands of songs running through my mind. Um, you know, this one right here is called Rebel Heart. I wrote it with Dean Dillon, and it
hmm,
has such a cool sound and such a cool um, concept in the lyrics. And there's some songs I listen to that aren't kind of that where my mind is, and I have to go through and go, I love it. I think it's a great song. It's a hit song. It's People would love this song. Everything about this song's awesome, but it doesn't fit in that like vision
sure.
that I have for and so yeah, it's a fun process, but it'll drive you crazy, man. But
I'm sure.
and then yeah, summertime booking up the summer, gonna go on tour, gonna play the hot beer and dancing away with my heart and
Yeah.
all everybody's favorite songs of mine and maybe throw in a couple new ones that I'm excited about and we're gonna have a good time, man. I always take the time to go hang out with the fans. I'll go out by the merch booth and I'll sit there till 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll have the venue ready to choke me out because it's over
Yeah,
curfew. But I'm like, well, there's 30 more people I got to say
yeah,
hi
that's
to,
great.
So it's a fan experience to come and see my show. That's super important to me. Touring, playing, performing live is my um, that is my bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's how I got started doing it. That at the root, that is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. I saw Leonard Skinner was my first concert.
Yeah. That's what I was going
Um,
to ask you. So what
yeah,
was the first show you saw?
love Leonard Skinner, man. So my favorites are Charlie Daniels Band, Leonard Skinner, some of the Allman Brothers
Yep.
and Blackfoot and Outlaws and a lot of that Southern rock stuff. And then, of course, traditional like Merle Haggard. I love
Hmm.
Haggard. George Jones. Then into Keith Whitley.
Sure.
My two favorite artists of all time are Keith Whitley and Hank Jr.
Okay.
So that was actually kind of an epiphany that I had. I was like, man, my next record needs to emulate my favorite music, and
Yeah.
so it's gonna be a little bit on the Keith Whitley side, and the next song may be a Born to Boogie kind of
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I've
Yeah.
done in the past. Big Truck and Picking Up Girls are some of my most popular songs, and those all have that
Sure.
that thing in them. So, um, yeah, man. Fall, I'll tour in the fall as well. I'll have a few shows,
Yeah.
between now and May, but there'll be a select few. I'm going to be taking this time to write, start working on new music, and planning the summer and fall tour.
Yeah. No.
So
Man, I love that, man. You're gonna have to, kind of keep us in the loop when you got new projects coming out. And
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, man. And so like we're, Dylan, we're rooting for you, buddy, man. We're
Thank
pulling
you,
for you in
dude.
2026. I hope that, and I mean this, man, from whether it's, goals that you've got just to maybe it's with your family, just building relationships, whatever it is, man. I'm hoping that, it's a big year for you, man. And again, if you need anything, let us know, man. But dude, thanks so much for jumping on Hitting the
Thanks,
Road.
Nate.
Yeah,
Dude, I
brother.
appreciate you, man. You got a great pod. I love listening to it. Thanks for having my buddy CJ Solar.
Oh yeah.
He's awesome. I just wrote with him, and he's the first human being I met in Nashville, Tennessee,
Really?
13 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
great guy.
No,
Love
man,
him.
I had a fun time talking to him, man. He's just a solid guy, and yeah, he's got such a great perspective, man, on the industry, man. So,
Yeah.
but man, dude, thank you again, man. It means everything, and
Yes,
again, we'll
sir.
circle back with you here soon, brother.
All right. See you, Nate. Thanks.
Thanks.